So today we will discuss about Bohr's theory of atomic structure. Before that, I just want to repeat the Bohr's model of hydrogen atom. The postulates what we have read already in my previous class. Bohr just modified the Rutherford model of the atom, and he said that the electrons are revolving around the nucleus in fixed circular orbit, and when the electrons are revolving around the nucleus, they have some velocity as well as they have some energy. The energy is kinetic energy as well as potential energy, and when the electron is revolving around the nucleus, the radius of the circular path is r. As well as Bohr also said about the quantization of the orbit. That means the electrons are just revolving around the fixed orbit, and there the angular momentum is an integral multiple of Planck's constant L equal to nh by 2 pi, that we have already discussed in Bohr's postulate. So next come to the text today, that Bohr's theory of atomic structure. Bohr's theory of atomic structure, that means taking this Bohr's postulate, we have to derive the various expression just like radius of the orbit, velocity, energy, frequency, wavelength and wave number of an electron when revolving around the nucleus. So let us consider, here is the nucleus, this is all over an atom, this is the nucleus, and the electrons are revolving around the nucleus having radius r, whose path has radius r. Let m is the mass of the electron, and here inside the nucleus proton and neutrons are present. Since neutron is chargeless and proton has positive charge, let z number of the proton is present here, z is the atomic number, so the total charge of the nucleus is Ze, and the charge of the electron is minus e. Now we have to know one thing, that when the electron is revolving around a circular path, it will experience a force, that is the centripetal force, that you have already known in your 11th class, that the centripetal force is there, which is acting when a body or a particle is revolving around the fixed point. Just means the gravitational force is an best example of that centripetal force, where the sun is at the center and the planets are revolving around the sun in circular path, and there the centripetal force is acting, but that centripetal force in that case becomes the gravitational force, and here this necessary centripetal force is provided by the electrostatic force of attraction between the electron and the nucleus. Inside the nucleus proton is there, so here just the force of attraction between the electron and the proton. So if r is the radius of the orbit, then the centripetal force required by the electron is simply Fc proportional to mv square by r, or we can write Fc equal to some constant k mv square by r. This k we can take as 1, and the force which is acting between the nucleus and the electron, that is nothing but the electrostatic force of attraction, or we can say the Coulomb's force, that is Fe equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 q2 by r square. But here in case of q1 the charge is Jd, and in case of q2 the charge is E. So Jd into E divided by r square, that is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Z square by R square. It will become F equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Z square by R square. So from these two equation 1 and 2, we can get mv square by r equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Z square by R square. So this thing we can get, and now the here is r, here is R square, so cancelling one r, we can get mv square equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Z square by R. This is in equation 3. But we know, according to the basic postulates of Bohr's model, the angular momentum equal to mvr, which is equal to, we can say, nh by 2 pi. H is the Planck's constant and n is the integer. Sometimes one question will come that what is the angular momentum in first orbit of hydrogen atom, suppose. So for first orbit we have to put this n equal to 1. So in first orbit the angular momentum L equal to h by 2 pi. Similarly, when the question is just like that, what is the angular momentum in second orbit? So for second orbit we have to put n equal to 2. So it is just an integral multiple. Here no fraction we can take or no decimal number we can take. Only we have to put the integer. First orbit, second orbit, third orbit, like that. So in second orbit L equal to 2h by 2 pi, 2 is cancels out. So h by pi. And for third orbit L equal to 3h by 2 pi, and similarly for the fourth orbit 4h by 2 pi, so 2 cancel, 2h by 2 pi. This will go on. So next come to the point to calculate the orbital velocity of the electron. That means in which velocity the electron is revolving around the nucleus. From equation 3 and 4 we get the text just like that. In 3 the expression is like that, mv square equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Z square by R, and here mvr equal to nh by 2 pi. We have to simply divide these two equations. So mv square by mvr equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Z square by R divided by nh by 2 pi. We have to simply divide. So mv square by mvr equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Z square by R into 2 pi by nh. This thing will be just reverse out, and finally we can get here rr will cancel, 1 v cancel, and mm cancels, vn we have written vn, n you can put first orbit, second orbit, third orbit, the velocity you can calculate putting the value of n here, and simply the velocity becomes 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught 2 pi Z square by nh. This is the expression for velocity of the electron. And next we have to calculate the radius of the orbit of the electron. You have to notice one thing, that all the expressions can be calculated by just relating the different equations we have discussed later and previous also. So both the equation have a relation. So taking that relation we can calculate the expression for velocity, radius, energy, etc., etc. And from equation 4 we have to go to that equation 4. You just remark here that L equal to mvr, that is equal to nh by 2 pi, this equation. So from equation 4 we can calculate the value of v equal to nh by 2 pi mr. You just see here v equal to nh by 2 pi mr will be divided here, and here we have to take v equal to nh by 2 pi mr, and we have to substitute this value of v in equation 3 such that we can get the value of the radius of the orbit. So how? We have to put here, you just see here in equation 3 mv square equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Z square by R, and here from this expression we have to calculate V, and we have to put V here, that is NH by 2 pi mr. This thing is here, that is m n square h square divided by 4 pi square m square r square equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught z square by r. And this r will be cancelled out, so r equal to 4 pi epsilon naught n square h square by 4 pi square mz square. And simply 4 cancel, pi also cancel, so finally r will become epsilon naught n square h square divided by pi mz square. This is the expression for radius of the orbit where the electron revolves. And to calculate the radius of the hydrogen atom, we have to put z equal to 1. And for hydrogen like atom also we have to put like that. And epsilon naught value we know, that is n also the number of the orbit, and h is the Planck's constant, m is the mass of the electron, E is the charge of the electron. We will discuss after how we have to calculate the radius by putting all the datas here. So n is only the integral value, and only those orbits are possible which have radii n equal to 1, 2, 3. That means fractional radius cannot take. And next we have to calculate the energy of the electron. As we know, the energy is nothing but the sum of its kinetic and potential energy. So when we have to calculate the total energy possessed by the electron, first we have to calculate the potential energy of the system and then the kinetic energy. So next we have to add. So kinetic energy, it is the energy possessed by the electron by virtue of its motion. And in mechanics in 11th class you simply know that kinetic energy equal to half mv square. And from equation 3 we can get the value of that v, and putting the value of v here we can get kinetic energy equal to half 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught z square by r. And next we have to calculate the potential energy. Here the potential energy is nothing but the energy possessed by the electron by virtue of its position near the nucleus. Simply we have to know the definition of the electrostatic potential energy. What is that electrostatic potential energy? Suppose a charge is at infinite, means at a certain distance. If you want to bring that charge from infinity to a given point, the amount of the work done is known as the potential energy, because work done is known as energy, you know, from work energy theorem. So that amount of the work done is the potential energy. You will betterly know about that in your potential chapter later. So you have to remember one thing is here, that potential energy, that means the electrostatic potential energy, is just expressed as 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 q2 by r square. And here q1 is Jd and q2 is minus E. So potential energy of the system will become minus 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Z square by r. And now we have to calculate the total energy of the system. And this total energy is nothing but the sum of the kinetic energy as well as the potential energy. And since this energy is just a scalar quantity, so we have to simply add in algebraically. So put the value of half for 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Z square by r minus 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Z square by r. So E total will become minus half 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Z square by r. And substituting the value of r from equation 6, where we have just found the value of r, that is epsilon naught n square h square by pi m Z square. This thing we have to put in this expression, and E total will become minus half 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Z square divided by epsilon naught n square h square by pi m z square, and pi cancels out here, and finally 4 into 2, that is 8. So E total equal to minus 1 by 8 epsilon, that means epsilon naught square and z square m E fourth divided by n square h square. So this is the expression for energy, the total energy of electron in the orbit. And we have to remark one thing is that the energy possessed by the electron depends upon the square of the number of the orbit, that means E proportional to 1 by n square. This thing we will later discuss, because here Z is constant, M is constant, E is constant, 8 epsilon, these things are constant, only the variable is the number of the orbit. So the energy depends upon the number of the orbit, just like that, E proportional to 1 by n square. Next come to another some factors, that are frequency, wavelength and wave number of radiations. So when we have discussed about the Bohr's postulates, there we have discussed one thing, that when the electron just jump from higher orbit to a lower orbit, it will radiate some energy, and the difference of that energy is emitted in the form of the radiations. And similarly, when it just goes up from lower to higher orbit, it will gain some energy. So that energy nothing but in terms of the radiations. Suppose an electron jumps from an orbit n equal to n2 of energy E2 to n1 of energy E1. That means two levels are there, lower level having energy E1 and the orbit is n1, and just the upper level, you just imagine the upper level is n2 and having energy E2. Then we know from Bohr's postulates the basic equation, the difference in the energy E2 minus E1 equal to h nu. And putting the value of that energy, we have get the expression for energy just like that. You can also check here that minus 1 by 8 epsilon naught z square m E fourth by n square h square. This thing you can take, or this thing also, minus half 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught z square, this much. So putting the value is like that, minus of 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught square 2 pi square z square m E fourth by n2 square h square, minus of minus 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught square 2 pi square z square m E fourth by n1 square h square. Simply here one thing will change, that is here n2 for energy level E2, the number of the orbit is n2, so here is n2 square, and here the number of the orbit is n1 possessing the energy E1. So this minus minus will become plus, and putting that value minus just differentiating means subtracting this one. So here nu, h should be divided on right side. Nu is nothing but the frequency. Nu equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught square 2 pi square z square m E fourth by h cube 1 by n1 square minus 1 by n2 square. This is the expression for frequency. Next come to the wavelength. Wavelength is represented as lambda, you know, for a wave. So E equal to h nu, this thing we know, E equal to h nu, this is nothing but the general equation of energy, equal to hc by lambda. This thing you have know already from your wave chapter from previous class. So energy equal to hc by lambda, or nu equal to c by lambda. H cancels out, and putting the value of nu, we can get here c by lambda equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught square 2 pi square z square m E fourth by h cube 1 by n1 square minus 1 by n2 square. And dividing c here right side, on right side we can get 1 by lambda, and this 1 by lambda equal to nu bar. It is nothing but the wave number of radiation. So wave number is nothing but, the definition of the wave number is like that, it is the reciprocal of wavelength. So it will become nu bar equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught square 2 pi square z square me fourth divided by chq 1 by n1 square minus 1 by n2 square, or nu bar equal to rh z square. This thing means not taking that z square, we have to take all the other terms, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught whole square 2 pi square me fourth by chq. This thing is denoted as RH, which is nothing but the Ritzburg constant. You have to just notice one thing here, except that Z, everything will be constant, and for just constant epsilon naught, permittivity is constant, that mass of the electron constant, charge of the electron is constant, this is the velocity of the light, that will be constant, h is the Planck's constant. So taking the all the constant as a single constant, that is RH, and RH equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught square into 2 pi square z square me fourth by chq, or 1 by 8 epsilon naught square me fourth by chq, where RH is called the Ritzburg constant and RH equal to 1.0973 into 10 to the power 7 meter inverse. This is a fixed value or constant value. Next, come to some problems. That formula we have already discussed here, that radius, velocity, energy, all the things. Suppose a question is there that calculate the radius of first Bohr orbit of hydrogen atom. Suppose one question is like that. We have already know the expression for radius, and that expression for radius is r equal to epsilon naught n square h square, r equal to epsilon naught n square h square divided by pi m z square, and all the things are just constant except this z, and we have to put all the value. H is the Planck's constant, whose value is like 6.6 into 10 to the power minus 34 joule second, E equal to 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb, M is 18.1 into 10 to the power minus 31 kg, and epsilon naught 8.85 into 10 to the power minus 12 coulomb square Newton inverse meter minus 2. And putting all the values here, and n equal to 1 means we have to calculate the radius of the first Bohr orbit. First Bohr orbit means we have to put n equal to 1, and putting all the values, that 8.85 into something, we can get this 0.53 angstrom. 1 angstrom is equal to 10 to the power minus 10 meter. If you calculate this thing, you will get. So this expression is very much important, and the value also to calculate the radius of first Bohr orbit of hydrogen atom. And next question, just similar type of the question. Calculate the radius of third Bohr orbit of hydrogen atom. Everything will be same. We know the formula for radius, that is epsilon naught n square h square divided by pi m z square, and since we have to calculate the radius in third orbit, so we have to put n equal to 3, and putting n equal to 3, and all the values are same as before. Epsilon naught is 8.85 into 10 to the power minus 12, and n square in term n is 3, so 3 square is 9 into 6.6 into 10 to the power minus 34 whole square divided by pi m 9.1, pi 9.1. This thing is 9.1 into 10 to the power minus 31 into 1 into this thing, we can get 4.742 into 10 to the power minus 10 meter. So This is all about the two problems, how to calculate the radius of the orbit in first orbit or in second orbit. And you can also calculate the radius of hydrogen atom in third and fourth orbit also. You can calculate such type of the problem. You can solve the problems from your book also, and this is all about.